What is Risk of Rain 2? How does it work? And most importantly, how does this turn into this? I'll be explaining all of this in today's video to help you better understand the general gameplay loop of Risk of Rain 2, so you know what to expect when you start playing, or just to make it easier to follow my videos on this channel. Speaking of which, if you like what you see, subscribe, because I post Risk of Rain runs and tips every few days, and feel free to follow me on Twitch at TheTrentoMento to chat with me live during my runs. But with that being said, let's jump right in with what is Risk of Rain 2. Risk of Rain 2 is a single-player or multiplayer third-person shooter roguelike. What does that mean? Now how about you give me a goddamn second and I'll answer you. Roguelikes follow a certain gameplay loop that consists of killing enemies to get gold, spending that gold on items to power up, and moving from stage to stage to fight harder and harder enemies. Risk of Rain 2 is no different. You'll start by choosing one of the 13 survivors in the game, all with completely different abilities and skill sets. How do you know which one is right for you? Just try them all, because there's no right answer. Some are extremely mobile and good at dealing with lots of enemies at once. Some are skilled in long-range, single-target damage. Some have healing built into their kit. Just try them all and see what sticks. Once you've chosen a survivor, you'll spawn in on stage 1. From here, the gameplay loop I mentioned before begins. You'll kill enemies, which will give you gold. You then use that gold to open chests and barrels to get important items, activate shrines, buy drones, and much more to make you stronger. There are tons of enemies in the game, from beetles, to bigger beetles, to even bigger beetles, to some enemies that actually don't resemble a beetle at all. But as you can see, the game has quite the variety of enemies for you to kill. There are also tons of items in this game, so go check out my ongoing tier list series to help know which items you should look out for. On the top right, there's a timer with a difficulty rating. As the timer goes up, this difficulty goes up, meaning you can't take too long looting or the enemies will become more powerful than you. Once you have sufficiently looted a stage, you must find the teleporter. Once activated, a boss will spawn, along with many other enemies. Once the boss is killed and the teleporter is charged by staying within its radius, you can move on to the next stage. This cycle of kill, loot, boss, leave, repeats until the 5th stage called Sky Meadows. On this stage, you can choose to go through the teleporter to stage 6, known as the Moon, and fight the final boss, or loop through 5 more stages to get even more powerful. Usually on my runs, I go right to the Moon, but that's just how I do it. Speaking of the Moon, once you reach the Moon, you must charge 4 pillars by staying within the radius, just like the teleporters on each stage. Once you've charged all 4, you may proceed to the final boss, known as Mithrix, King of Nothing. Mithrix is a pretty fun boss with 4 phases. Phase 1 consists of just Mithrix fighting you. He'll swing his hammer, shoot at you, slam the ground. Pretty easy stuff to start. Phase 2 is known as the Add phase, which just means instead of fighting Mithrix, you fight smaller enemies known as adds. Once they are killed, Mithrix comes back for Phase 3. Phase 3 includes adds and a more powerful Mithrix, with more health and new attacks such as the terrifying attack known as Pizza. This is the actual term. Look at it. Come on. That's a pizza. Once you kill Phase 3, Mithrix will become invincible until he siphons away all your items for himself, leaving you to fight him with nothing while he becomes as powerful as you were. You must deal enough damage to him to slowly get your items back until you can kill him. Once he's finally defeated, you can leave and charge 1 more teleporter radius to win the run. One thing to keep in mind is unless you have a very specific legendary item, you only have 1 life to complete all of this. But if you manage to do so, you win. The base game of Risk of Rain 2 follows this script. It can be played on Drizzle, Rainstorm, or Monsoon, also known as easy, medium, or hard if you're a boring person. However, for those experienced with the game, there is a much harder challenge than the normal game mode. This hefty challenge is called Eclipse. And it's what I'm working on completing on this channel and during my runs on Twitch. Wow, it's like you should subscribe to see those or something because I need emotional support because it's hard. Eclipse works like this. There are 8 levels of Eclipse, and each level stacks on the previous level, making the game harder. Eclipse 1 makes you start every stage with half health. Eclipse 3 doubles fall damage and makes it lethal. Eclipse 5 cuts all healing in half, all the way to Eclipse 8, which adds a form of permanent damage to each stage. Each level adds another modifier on top of the last, so Eclipse 8 includes the modifiers from Eclipse 1 through 7. You must complete a level of Eclipse to unlock the next level. This is on a per survivor basis, meaning if I complete Eclipse 1 on Commando, I have now unlocked Eclipse 2 on Commando, and only Commando. Meaning in order to complete all of Eclipse, you must win 104 runs of Risk of Rain. That's 13 survivors times 8 levels of Eclipse. But once you've done this, you are truly in a league of your own. This is the basis for Risk of Rain 2. There are so many other nuances, tons of hidden secrets, and super helpful tricks that I will go over in another video. Things like hidden final boss, hidden dimensions, ways to skip the moon pillars completely, and so much more. So if this type of content is something you want to see more of, hit the subscribe button because I'll be posting helpful tips and tricks, tier lists, and my Eclipse attempts multiple times a week. So stick around for the adventure. I hope y'all enjoyed, and I will see you next time.